Arsehole, battered, bladdered, blotto, bollocks, boozed up, caned, cucumbered, drunk as a lord, drunk as a skunk, even though we don't have skunks. Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos involves drinking. Now, I'm not talking about the empty bottles of 17th century mead that the passengers of the Mayflower inevitably threw into the pond. No, I'm talking about the language of drinking, the words that both countries use to express, albeit through slurred speech, the drinks we quaff and the effects they have. And as somebody who is partial to the odd, sometimes deeply odd, beverage, I practically wear drinking lingo on my sleeve. That's literally true if I've had absinthe. And I've also lived extensively in Britain and America, and if my calculations are correct, a good 15 to 28% of those stints has been spent at the pub making up statistics. So when the famed Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw proclaimed that Britain and America are two countries separated by a common language, he was mostly talking about drinking terminology. And that's not me stereotyping the Irish, all right, just so we're clear. I mean, my good friend Dermot is Irish, right? And he would absolutely deck me if he knew that I was doing that. So probably after 8 pints of Guinness. But I'm not stereotyping the Irish, so we're good. But speaking of pints, that in fact brings me on to our first difference. In Britain, a pint is an inherent part of the drinking process, so we might trot up to the bar and say something like, "All right, mate, gives a pint of London Pride," because we're all apparently Cockney now. Whereas in America, you're probably less likely to hear it, and even if you do, an American pint is roughly 20% smaller than that of the British variety, so just get yourself a Sam Adams and be done already. But we all know that beer is not the only drink on tap, don't we? I mean, us English, we absolutely love our cider, especially down there in the West Country, right? But so does a certain country to the west. That's right, America's cider production has been soaring in the 21st century after rebounding from, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, the Prohibition era, when prohibitionists of the 1920s burnt down the nation's orchards. Hilarious! Except there's one thing I forgot to mention. In American English, the alcoholic drink that we Brits refer to simply as cider is usually known as hard cider, and not because, cider here is served frozen, but to distinguish it from non-fermented cider, which is basically just juice. Now then, let's say you've got your drinks, you've got your bag of pretzels and or salted peanuts. Now go and get yourself a seat, pull up a beer mat, and let the good times roll. Except there's one complication. Americans don't usually use the term beer mat. Now, if you are American and you're wondering what in the heck I'm talking about, a beer mat is more or less what you would call a coaster. In both countries, the accessory in question is kind of a small square or circle piece of card designed to prevent spillage from reaching your table. It's also a cheap ad. Alright, that's it with the pre-gaming, itself a chiefly North American word, the British equivalent of which would be, I don't know, pre-drinking? Prinking? I honestly can't remember having a word for such an occasion. How about entree drinks? Anyway, let's head down to the local shop/store and score ourselves some cheap beer to go and gatecrash an imaginary party. In the UK, such a shop is typically known as an off-license, or offie for short, meaning that alcohol can be purchased but not consumed on the premises, something I discovered the hard way. Americans, on the other hand, tend to refer to it as a liquor store. Now, because liquor is a homophone of the word liquor, as in one who licks, then you do find some absolutely hilarious store names. This one, for instance, okay? Friendly Package Liquors. I didn't come up with that. I found that on the internet. 69 Liquors. That one, it's off I-69. It's referring to the interstate. It's nothing more than that. And then this one, what is it? Lead Paint Liquors. No. Probably call the authorities on that one. Yeah. So now it's time for the main event, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to get hammered. Or should I say, it's time to look at the countless slang words that both countries employ for that very act. Here's a fact for you. In Britain alone, there are more words for getting sloshed than there are livers. And now that I say that out loud, I can see why. But America is no slouch either, so let's take a closer look. Okay, I did some Googling around and I found this list on a website called lostinthepond.com. It's my website, what a plug. And it turns out that depending on the region or the circumstance or the occasion, whatever it might be, Americans might use any of the following. So you've got buzzed, blasted, canned, croaked, drunk as a skunk, destroyed, fried, groggy, hammered, hooched up, juiced, liquored up, loaded, looped, obliterated, ploughed, polluted, rat-assed, ripped, shit-faced, sloshed, smashed, stewed, stinko, tanked, 3 sheets to the wind, tight, tipsy, under the influence, under the table, wasted, woozy, and wrecked. That's wrecked for humans. Now, some of those, or variants upon them, will be found in British English, which also includes these. Arsehole, battered, bladdered, blotto, bollocks, boozed up, caned, cucumbered, drunk as a lord, drunk as a skunk, even though we don't have skunks. Fannied, far gone, fecked, lagered up, legless, off one's face, off one's tits, paralytic, pissed, plastered, rat-arse, ravishankered, I might have made that one up, ruined, slaughtered, sloshed, trolleyed, trousered, I don't know where that came from, twatted, wankered, wazzocked, and whammed. Now, I'm not Superman, and frankly, I have had a couple of bevies, so both lists are probably incomplete. But that's what the comments section is for, so tell me your favourites down below, and I'll get to them tomorrow when I'm nursing a hangover. Speaking of hangover, did you know that while both countries do use that word in the context of next day's headache, only one coined it, the United States of America, in 1902, and then 18 years later Prohibition happened. Oh, America in the early 20th century, you crazy fool, you. Alright, that's it for this episode of Lost in the Pond. Have a terrific week. In fact, more than that, have a terrific weekend, if you know what I mean. Just talking about drinks, nothing more than that. Oh, that'll be Dermot. I should probably get going. Where on earth? Oh, hello. Thank you for watching this latest episode of Lost in the Pond, and if you like what you see on this channel, why not consider becoming a patron of Lost in the Pond like these fine folks that you see here to the right. One of the perks of doing so is you get to join my Patreon-only live stream every Tuesday night, no matter how big or small your pledge. So if you want to support this channel and help make it grow larger than the sun, then go to patreon.com/lostinthepond. Now, if you like this video, there are 2 more things that you should do at this very moment. Firstly, share it with the entire world, and secondly, check out this related video. I highly recommend it, but please, binge responsibly. And finally, if you've not had the chance to do so, you can subscribe to Lost in the Pond in a very satisfying way by punching my stupid little face. Until the next video, goodbye.